Some people are fascinated by the sea, while some are scared of it. This is a movie that makes one fact abundantly clear, i.e., the sea can scare you like no other thing in this world. Even after all the progress the world has made, we still don't know for sure what is out there and how dangerous it is. Let's see how this movie makes us live the experience. Welcome to Monster Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2020 film Underwater. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we're taken to Kepler 822, a research and drilling facility operated by Tian Industries at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. We see a mechanical engineer named Norah Price. She wakes up and goes to the bathroom. As she sits there after brushing her teeth, the lights start flickering. She gets up and makes her way to check what's going on, but as she goes out, she's hit by the waves coming through the wall. We see that the walls are also leaking. She understands that there's a pressure breach. She runs down the hallway and tells the others that they should get to the bulkhead right away. There is, however, no one out there, and only Rodrigo Nagenda is able to join her. Once they successfully get to the bulkhead, they decide that they're going to close the door in order to save the rest of the station from destruction. When Norah tries to command it through the computer, the system malfunctions and they're unable to close the door. Norah has no choice but to force start it under unbearable pressure. And of course, she's on a clock as well. She eventually manages to pull it off, but just as she's about to close it, she spots two of her colleagues making their way to them, so she waits for them to get to safety. However, she soon realizes that it's not going to be possible for them to make it, so she closes the door despite not wanting to do it. But she has to do it to save the rest of the station. The system Norah uses explodes, and she, along with Rodrigo, goes unconscious. They, however, wake up after a while. Upon waking up, they learn that 70% of the station has been destroyed. Rodrigo finally finds his voice and expresses his opinion, saying it was an earthquake, but they keep hearing some mysterious voices from the outside. Norah tries calling for help, but no one is there to listen to her, and they then decide to look for the escape pods. She checks on the system that in order for them to get there, they must take a hallway full of debris since it's the only way to reach the pods. As they move forward to get to the pods, they find someone calling for help. Upon checking, it turns out to be Paul Abel, who's stuck under a pile of rocks. They get him out of there and he joins them as well. The three of them then crawl through a narrow tunnel to reach the pod bay. On their way, they even come across the dead body of their colleague. When they arrive, they discover all the escape pods were deployed by Captain Lucien, who stayed behind because that's what captains do. Together, they reach a control base and find biologist Emily Haversham and engineer Liam Smith. These two, by the way, are in a relationship too. The other three join them too, and Emily warns them that the energy accumulated in the station has nowhere to go and could cause a meltdown any minute now. Emily also confirms that there's no contact with the surface. Having no way to contact the surface, Lucien suggests they should move to a different facility. He suggests using pressurized suits to walk 1 mile across the ocean floor to the Roebuck 641 station and use their escape pods. The crew, however, does not like the idea, as it could be dangerous. Liam then goes on to play a recording of the last transmission from the drill site. Upon listening to the recording, they express that it seems like they were being attacked by the same mysterious noise that Norah heard too. They then notice that the temperature outside has increased by 10 degrees as well, which is not at all normal given the fact that water does not do that. The crew soon understands that they have no choice but to consider the suggestion made by the captain again, so they decide to make their way to the Roebuck. All the members start working on suiting, but Emily is scared. It turns out that she has never dived before, and it turns out that she does not even have a pressure suit. In fact, nobody has been out there more than a few minutes when they're out there to fix something. Paul decides to grab a gun, and Liam also does the same, because after the recording, everyone has been a little nervous as to God knows what is out there. While assembling a pressure suit for Emily, Rodrigo finds a helmet with a hairline crack. There are no more helmets, so he makes a quick decision. They help Emily into her suit. When they're about to leave, Liam tells them a lot of damages have occurred out there, so everyone should hold on as tight as they can. As they descend in the cargo elevator, Rodrigo's defective helmet implodes under the increasing water pressure. This is how Rodrigo sacrifices himself for Emily. They, however, have no time to grieve the loss of a dear friend and a colleague. They have to keep going. Norah starts feeling guilty. She knows that Rodrigo knew his own helmet was broken, but he still gave her a better helmet. Lucien, however, tells her that she should get used to these things in such an environment, as these things happen. As they go down through life, they see a distress beacon from one of the failed escape pods. Lucien then tells Paul and Liam to investigate what is going on out there, thinking they might be able to rescue some survivors. When Liam and Paul prepare to rescue any survivors, Emily is disturbed that Liam, her boyfriend, is leaving her to go outside. Paul comforts her by giving her his plushy bunny, Little Paul, saying, "Take this bunny, I bequeath it to you. If he doesn't make it, I'll haunt you." Shocked but mollified, Emily accepts the bunny. The conditions are brutal outside, and the platforms are unstable, but the guys keep going as they follow Norah's directions. The weird noises from afar can be heard here as well. They find that the pod is imploded, and it's covered with some strange kind of organism. They also find a body in the rubble. They tell Lucien about their situation, adding that there's no one to rescue. Lucien right away orders them to come back. Paul, however, does not listen to him, as he's distracted by a weird shape on the back of the body. The shape suddenly comes alive and starts moving. The next thing we see, it attacks them. Liam right away shoots and kills the creature. They then take it inside. Emily examines the creature and realizes that it belongs to a previously undiscovered species. She theorizes that the rig drilled into a thermal pocket where these creatures live. This is confirmed by a previously recorded 10-degree rise in the outside water temperature. As they talk, the elevator suddenly loses power and stops moving. The noises they heard in that recording can now be heard outside. This is when they realize that the creature they've captured is a baby, so he assumes that the adults are now there to attack them. Paul goes on to shut the door tight right away. Norah gets started on the elevator and disengages it, but it still does not start moving. This is when an adult creature appears right in front of their window, and the Kepler explodes. The elevator is now on a freefall. The crew members hold tight and put their helmets back on right away. When they're really close to hitting the surface, they barely manage to make it out in time. They then shout that they need to move fast, as the debris from the explosion is spreading all over. Liam gets hit and finds it hard to keep up, but Norah and Lucien help him reach the station. When they get there, they find out that its oxygen scrubber is not working. When they move in a tunnel, they can hear the creature following them from outside. They, however, have to stop because, of course, the tunnel is flooded. They also see that a lot of debris is out there and it's blocking their way. Norah is the smallest one of them all. She says that she's going to dive in and find a way out for everyone. She finds a passage under the debris. The passage is tight, but it's still big enough for all of them to go through. Before all the crew members go in, Lucien attached them with wires. As they go on, they seem to have no issue until Paul tells the others that he can see something behind him. When the crew realizes that he has stopped moving, the crew starts pulling at his wire to keep him moving with them. They manage to keep him with them, but when he takes off his helmet, his wire starts getting pulled from the other side. Paul throws his bunny toward them and puts his helmet back on. The whole crew tries to pull Paul toward them, but the force pulling him to the opposite side is too powerful. When he's close enough, a creature appears and lashes at him, ripping his suit and killing him right away. The crew looks on in terror, but they do not have much time. They run away before the creature comes for them and manage to reach the communication room. Lucien tries to ask for help, but there is no one to help. Liam looks at the drill and expresses his shock at its destruction, saying how could it be destroyed just like that when it weighs 6,000 tons? Emily tells him that this is their own fault. They should not have dug too deep into the ocean. She goes on to conclude that no one should be down there. It's no place for humans. Everyone agrees with her. Norah holds Paul's bunny and broods over Paul's death for a few minutes. Lucien sees that the windows have started cracking, so they should not be staying there anymore. Norah discovers that Liam's damaged oxygen pod will cause him to suffocate from the toxic fumes. Unwilling to leave another crew member behind, Norah, Lucien, and Emily agree to help Liam walk. Despite him telling the others that they should just leave him behind as he's nothing but dead weight, the others keep helping him. The four set off across the ocean floor, but a humanoid creature appears and drags Liam into a cave. Lucien pulls Liam out, but is himself dragged into the cave, and then pulled down a deep shaft with ever-increasing pressure. Risking implosion, Norah tries to rescue Lucien. She lands on a floating platform, and Lucien hangs tangled at the edge of it. Norah thinks that she'll be able to save him, but the creature draws near and puts its mouth on her helmet. Lucien sees it and right away jumps on the creature to push it away from Norah, but the creature is too powerful and goes on to drag them with it as they descend into the deep waters. Lucien feels the pressure. He knows that they're not going to be able to survive the pressure. So he cuts the wire and separates himself, letting go and sacrificing himself so Norah can live. Alone, Norah arrives at the abandoned shepherd station. She rummages through Lucien's locker and finds a pentagram drawn on an old blueprint of the initial drilling site. Norah changes into an undamaged suit and continues toward Roebuck Station. Norah catches up with Emily and Liam and helps drag the injured Liam along the seafloor. At Roebuck, they encounter a nest of humanoid creatures suspended from the ceiling and attempt to sneak by. The sound of Emily's oxygen alarm awakens the creatures. Norah is partially swallowed by a creature, but frees herself by firing her flare gun while inside its body. Freeing herself from the corpse, she fires a second flare into the distance and sees the creatures are the spawn of an ancient titanic creature, Cthulhu. The three finally reach the escape pod bay, but Norah discovers that only 2 of the pods are functional. Norah and Emily get the ailing Liam into a pod, but he insists the ladies go first, so he weakly fights them to take the last pod. Norah convinces Liam to get in the pod by giving him the bunny, saying, "Here, take this. Give it to his parents. Tell them he was my favorite pain in the ass." Liam agrees, and they activate his pod. Emily notices the 3rd pod is flashing red and is defective. She offers to stay with Norah and help her fix it. Norah forcefully persuades Emily to take the 2nd pod and activates it. Meanwhile, Cthulhu has been attacking the Roebuck, while the smaller creatures pursue the 2 escape pods. Instead of repairing the 3rd pod, Norah accepts her fate. She uses the remaining time to calculate a safe distance for Liam's and Emily's pods. As soon as the pods are out of the blast zone, she initiates an overload of the Roebuck's nuclear core, resulting in a massive explosion that kills her, Cthulhu, and the creatures. The escape pods safely reach the surface. Tian Industries refuses to cooperate with investigators regarding the events. Liam and Emily are sequestered from the press. Paul's plushy bunny is confiscated and taken into evidence, and Tian prepares to expand its drilling efforts. In the alternate ending, after overloading the core, Norah makes her way to the damaged escape pod and rewires it, escaping just before the Roebuck explodes. This is where the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.